Hey guys, Butler Bulldog Bill here, and I'm going to talk about the very, very sad news coming out of the college basketball world over the weekend. The Indiana Hoosiers and Kentucky Wildcats rivalry in men's basketball has come to a, very disappointing end. Um, just a little bit of background information. I grew up in a family that was huge Indiana Hoosiers fans. And, my parents were big IU fans. Just basically everybody in my family, from my grandparents to my aunts and uncles, cousins, everybody's IU fans. And because of that, I watched a lot of IU basketball games back in the day. I was a huge Bob Knight fan. Um, Bob Knight was the reason why I became a huge college basketball fan. I followed him around wherever he went. When he was at IU, I loved him at IU. When he was at Texas Tech, I loved him at Texas Tech. Um, and one of the games that I can remember wanting to watch every year when he was at IU was the Kentucky game. And when he was at IU, the game was played. It rotated neutral sites. They played one year in the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, and then the very next year they would play in Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, and they would flip flop back and forth year after year. And this went on, I think, from 1991 to 2005, so quite a long time. And then in 2006, they started switching it up to campus sites. There was a scheduling conflict with playing the game in either Freedom Hall or in RCA Dome. So 2006, the game was at Rupp Arena in Lexington. 2007, in Assembly Hall in Bloomington. And they decided, to start flip flopping back and forth between campus sites for this rivalry game. And I have, this is a big rivalry in college basketball. It's one of the top, I'd say top 5 or 10 non-conference rivalries in college basketball. Now, it doesn't have the same meaning for as the Kentucky and Louisville rivalry, which has been going on for quite a long time. Indiana and Kentucky have been playing each other annually since 1969. They've met in the postseason a few times. I remember the 1975 Elite Eight. Indiana was undefeated, predicted to win the national championship, and Scott May got injured, and Kentucky, who had gotten destroyed by Indiana earlier in the year, ends up winning the game. Goes on, and I think UCLA won the national championship that year. Don't quote me on that. But then this past season, Kentucky defeated Indiana in the Sweet 16 after Indiana had defeated them by a point in Assembly Hall earlier in the year. Now, this game, it's just really disappointing that they're ending it. Kentucky, John Calipari and the Kentucky athletic director were trying to bargain with Indiana that the game needed to be moved to a neutral site again. Tom Crean and IU athletic director Fred Glass said, no, this game needs to remain on the campuses because, it shows what college basketball is all about. It's all about the fans, the home crowds, getting booed on one campus, getting cheered on the other. And it just makes for a great setting, especially for a rivalry game. And, Calipari and I don't know what Kentucky's athletic director's name is, but they were, they wanted on camp or on neutral sites because they had a bad experience at Bloomington this year. I guess things got chanted or said to, screamed at Kentucky players and fans that were inappropriate. The rushing of the floor, I guess, could have endangered the lives of the players and the coaches of the Kentucky team. And they trampled a Kentucky fan, I guess. She's a Playboy model. I don't know why any Kentucky fan would show up at an IU game, even if they're playing Kentucky. That's suicide. But and vice versa, if an IU fan showed up at a Kentucky game, it's stupid. But it's just an unsafe environment and all that other stuff. For those of you that don't know, Kentucky plays in the Southeastern Conference, and one of the rules of the SEC is that they are not allowed to rush the floor. Their home teams aren't allowed to rush the floor in the SEC. If they do, they get big time fined for that. So they have extra security to make sure that nobody rushes the floor after games. So Kentucky's not used to it, number one. As far as the remarks that were chanted and shouted at them, it's kind of stupid that they got offended by that when a few years back they played Mississippi State at Mississippi State and the fans were chanting the N-word at DeMarcus Cousins. So I don't know. You'd think after you go through that, something IU fans chant at you wouldn't be that big of a deal. But anyway, off of that crap. So they want it on neutral sites. IU did not want it on a neutral site, and because they couldn't agree, they're not playing the rivalry now. And the contract expired of playing it on campus sites, and they had to renew the contract. And when they couldn't agree, it threw it out the window. It's a very, very sad day for college basketball because of that. This was a great rivalry. It was one that was always a national broadcast because of the history between the two schools and of the two schools. Kentucky with their 8 national championships, Indiana with their 5. It is fair to say that Kentucky really did dominate the series, but it was a competitive series for the most part. Games Indiana lost in were usually pretty close, especially the years, IU didn't do so well, with the last couple of years record-wise. Even with their bad teams, they still gave Kentucky, a game, at least for the most part of the game. So, it's just a really bad deal for college basketball to lose this rivalry, at least for now. Hopefully it'll come back. Hopefully they can, work something out last second and put it back on the schedule for this upcoming season. But no crap like this happens in all sports, all college sports. Sometimes rivalries end or they get put on hiatus for a while. So hopefully, as long as the fans make enough noise, and I'm not picking sides here, Kentucky fans, I really hope that you can make noise and get this rivalry game brought back. Indiana fans, I hope you can make a lot of noise and get this rivalry brought back, because it's really good for both programs to have this rivalry game, and it's good for college basketball to continue it. But anyway, and my belief on whether it should be on neutral sites or campus sites, I know a lot of it was on neutral sites from in the 90s and early 2000s, but my opinion on it is it needs to be on campus sites, because nothing describes college basketball more than games on campus sites where you have the passion and the pageantry of college basketball. You get more pride and passion on a campus site than you would on a neutral site. And the games that were played on neutral sites between IU and Kentucky, yeah, the crowd really got into it, but not so much. Like, it felt like life or death when it was played at Lexington or at Bloomington. Like, it was a huge deal. The crowd really, really got into it. And when you're doing 50-50 crowds, I just feel like that should be saved for tournament games like the Maui Invitational or the preseason NIT, or for conference tournaments or for the NCAA tournament. That's where the neutral site stuff needs to come in, not on regular season games like this. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the IU and Kentucky rivalry coming to an end. Please comment below and let me know what you think about it, what you feel about it. I'd actually like to hear from people that aren't fans of IU and Kentucky, what you think about this rivalry coming to an end and how you would rank this rivalry, up against all of the others in college basketball. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day.